something more if we're going to start to believe in them to be the top team in NA. Like we all know they can be. They've got the ability, they've got the experience, but they haven't produced the results recently to convince me that they have what it takes to beat G2 today.
We're going to find out. I'm sure G2 fans around the world all sighed the moment that Gibbs said that he was backing them today because, well, their record when he does so isn't necessarily all that great. As we get ourselves into game number 1. Remember, team that wins this has got 3 chances to qualify for tomorrow's playoff. And the team that loses heads down to the 1-1 side of the bracket, where teams like Space Station Gaming are currently waiting for them as Justin moves in for the shot. Rizzo keeps it out. I think Rizzo is the main person to try and take an eye on here because whenever G2 are playing at their best, Rizzo gets very heavily involved in their plays. Whenever they're playing at their worst, he's usually stuck in the final third.
So last time I believe we casted NRG, it was a pretty bizarre series where they were in full control, but they couldn't really create that many chances to score. And I think they've tried to stop wasting possession. That's the goal that they've been really trying to push through in their gameplay recently. Stop giving the ball away with unnecessary hits. Stop just hitting the ball in random directions because you can. However, they've got to find the balance, and especially against a team like G2, they're going to need to create quite a few chances on net because you don't expect them to score with 100% of their shots in this matchup. And for that reason, NRG need to try and find that sweet spot between pressure and control, which they've struggled to do all year. They've had the majority of the pressure so far today. Squishy goes under. Rizzo with a huge dunk. And I think he's done that twice in a row so far this game. Great mind game. Rizzo afraid of the high ball, didn't cover the low one.
Look, Squishy's been practicing that all week. If he's not going to score it the first time, he's scoring it the second time. If he doesn't score it then, he's going to keep going until Rizzo gives him the goal. So Rizzo probably doing the smart thing, letting him have it the second time round as Chicago is pulled off. It's going to be very interesting to see what Squishy does here because watching him evolve with this team has been very curious because they've gone from what was a very much set-in midfield challenger in the form of Turbo Pulsar to a very active Squishy Muffins, and so far they've gone from being near perfect during the off-season to having more questions asked of them as G2 come back into form, mostly due to Team House if they are to be believed, and Team Envy as well, with Turbo Pulsar have really emerged as a major threat. That is saying nothing of Space Station Gaming, but Rizzo is going to be the one to finish off an immaculate move from Chicago.
Surgical precision. What a pass by Chicago. That's going to go down as assist of the day. I can almost guarantee it. Skips past the first defender, controls the ball perfectly, and just played it right onto the very front corner of Rizzo's car. I was going to say before that for me, the keys, or like in general for NRG and for G2, are the Squishies and the Rizzos of these teams. They've got to be playing well to keep the vibes good and to keep the comms flowing. So far, so good on that front. But man, Chicago is hitting his stride. He had a great grid run to help G2 get their their third grid win this year earlier on in the week. And he's starting off with a blistering pass in this game against NRG.
There we go, 1 each. This has got 2 minutes left. J-Naps pops the ball back to the midfield. Here is Rizzo. Good shot from him. It's off the post. Rizzo came in from such a rough angle, but still almost made it work. J-Naps with another one off the backboard. Nothing for the team to really do there as Rizzo looks to try and shut down. Couldn't quite time the run correctly. G2 looking more threatening as we go along here. Squishy wants to win the race. He's managed to do it cleanly. That is massive for NRG. They can finally start to breathe a little bit more as they start to work their way into the orange side of the field.
G2's infield passes have been ripping apart this NRG defense. The backboard coverage has been there for NRG, but that's not where G2 are attacking. I'm sure that G2 would attack that if NRG were not defending it, but the awareness that G2 have, identifying the weak spots in the NRG defense, has been problematic for NRG so far.
Up goes Justin. Be the potential target man downfield. He wants to try and delay that rotation back as long as he can, but off these touches from G2, he is forced back, and now he's going to be forced into question as Justin keeps the shot out. NRG need to make sure that they use their challenges more wisely than that. They can't lose 2 players to make no contact.
Well, let's see if NRG can counter any of these infield passes. G2 are pretty set on using that strategy over and over again this game, at least up until now. But every infield pass also provides an opportunity for NRG to counterattack if they can see it coming early enough, if they can beat that G2 center ball to the punch. Well, let's wait and see, first of all, if G2 are going to continue to use that strategy in the closing seconds of game number 1.
Very weird, actually. NRG most unwilling to play G2 in any sort of pace game. JKnaps to the wall. He's going to have a couple of infield options, but instead missed the ball entirely. NRG looks to try and use that as Garrett misses the ball. He would have had Justin to aim for in the midfield. 20 seconds left. Is NRG still in possession off the backboard? Chicago gets good contact, and he's managed to make the ball hug the wall. It makes life a lot more difficult for NRG. Huge interception as well. As they're going to look to try and shut this one down. NRG are not going to have a player. We're going to go to overtime.
So it's all about those passing plays for G2. That's been the difference for me this game. G2 have been the better team up until now. NRG have kept it even. Let's see now if NRG can start to land some interceptions, some key interceptions, and swing this one back in their favor.
I just feel like the passing plays have been less frequent over the last minute or so. JKnaps looks to try and find the shot from Justin. Chicago unable to pop it off the backboard again. Not really usable for G2. Justin gets a solid challenge, opens up space for Squishy, who booms the ball downfield. And NRG can now start to work with this great interception. 2 players gone. Will Justin want to take it? He does move in, but it was smart for him to delay it just in case he couldn't win. Managed to get Garrett and Squishy back in position.
NRG are playing quite a defensive setup on the halfway line here, and G2 are panicking, expecting them to be attacking earlier. It's a good change of pace there from NRG. They came out of the gates in this first game, absolutely flying into challenges, and now they're pulling it back a little bit, collecting some free possessions as a result. Not a bad flick there by Garrett G. It is easily saved, though, by G2's last man. An interesting game 1, certainly. But G2 still have momentum on their side for the most part. Another wicked infield pass. Squishy's on the goal line to swat it clear.
Now JKnaps. He's not going to be able to beat Squishy tonight. He's got and Squishy Muffins has had a phenomenal game 1.
Absolute banger of a shot there by Squishy. And he was so early into position, punishing JKnaps' heavy touch. It looked like JKnaps was trying to bounce the ball into the corner and then chase after it, but he hit it a bit too hard, couldn't catch up to it. And boy, did Squishy punish him. He's had a great game here. And if that continues, then I'm confident NRG will play consistently. Because, when Justin and Garrett are the ones popping off and Squishy's having to play all the way back as third man, I don't think NRG look as convincing. Letting him get more involved in the offense and, just do whatever he wants, basically, letting him run riot makes NRG look so much more dangerous.
Yeah, I've never actually, for this particular roster, I think for previous ones, I've liked Squishy as first man, but I do prefer him as the one that follows up the touch as quickly as he possibly can, because that's the times that he can get it almost uncontested and play as quickly as he possibly can and do what we know he is capable of doing. But for G2, we are going to be sort of looking towards what they can adapt now, because that first game felt like it was one that should be going their way. It was them with the passing plays that looked like it was going to be unanswered by NRG, and it didn't work. NRG now seeing less of it on their defensive side of the field. Have G2 let their chance to get that sort of playstyle going slip?
Well, for G2, maybe just trying to control the ball in defense is that's the only takeaway from that first game, because there were quite a few times, especially at the end of game 1, where G2 were trying to hit the ball clear and it was being intercepted by NRG and sent right back into the danger zone. Offensively, G2 didn't have any problems establishing their game. I think they're going to just do more of the same in the offensive half. But defensively, yeah, it's all about control for G2, bit more patience in the defensive corners, and they, I think, should still have the advantage overall.
What has been a slightly chaotic regional for North America has looked a little bit more normal for us this week, Johnny. So far, is Rogue currently 2-0 up over on the E-League stream. That's twitch.tv/E-League TV. 2 up against Xset. We have already seen KCP take down Plot Twist, and we've seen Justin find the top corner. That is an instant turn for an instant result.
Squishy straight up into the ceiling. Chicago thought he was making a big play, by deflecting that one away from him, but Justin's read his mind. And, you know, once again, it's another one of those touches in defense for G2 that goes towards an NRG player and then straight back towards their goal a lot more quickly. So, you know, clearly G2 know what they have to fix. They know what they have to focus on to stop conceding, to stop giving NRG chances. But actually following through on that plan is a different matter entirely. Justin 1v1 with JNabs. He's got a good enough job. Oh my goodness, what a demo by Rizzo. That was wide open for Garrett had it not been for the last second demolished from behind.
And they managed to keep themselves at 1-0 down. Justin back to the air. He's dancing around all of them. Finally, they get contact. And another shot just trickles over to the left-hand side. NRG are on the warpath this game, and G2 looking to survive it. And then maybe grow into the game afterwards.
You know, if NRG can keep this up, then they'll easily become, I think, a top contender. I mean, everybody already knows they're in the conversation to win this weekend, but I think everybody would probably have them at fourth favorite behind the G2, the Space Station Gaming, and the Envies, who just had their number recently. Beautiful pass with G2. It's another infield. This one had nobody from G2 in the way of it, or nobody from NRG, sorry, in the way of it. And it's gone in uncontested. Great recovery, though, by JNabs. Had Justin completely out of position.
Yeah, Justin expected the play to be going to the other side of the field because he was right past where he needed to be. Ended up going for the full reverse, and by then the damage was already done. So back to one each. JNabs can't get the ball past Squishy, who is very solid today on his challenges, especially mid-air. No one seems to be able to get the better of him. Back to the wall. Are they going to turn this? No, Garrett wants the shot, and Garrett gets the goal.
Another long shot from that left wall goes all the way in. NRG have picked up a couple goals now from that exact same position. G2 need to be careful not to leave their net open when the ball is high up in the wall like that, because I mean, NRG, they might lack some things recently in the competitive threes game, but it definitely is not power shooting. Garrett off the crossbar, Justin off the crossbar. Now Squishy's follow-up will go way too high. A G2, bit of a scare there. Huge knock on by Rizzo. End-to-end stuff now in game two.
Yeah, I actually really like that shot from Squishy. If he's not going to get on target, sky it as much as you can. Slow the pace of the game down so you can get your players back. Justin in field to Garrett, who gives chase. The backboard. JNabs needs to get there first. He's not. Chicago pulls back. Squishy's going to move himself to that right-hand side to try and prepare for whatever comes. Rizzo and Chicago combining to at least give their team something to work with. But for how much longer? This has become a massive midfield battle for control, and Rizzo might have just won it for them. Garrett clears only as far as Chicago. Didn't bounce out for him, so he couldn't get it into the midfield. One huge challenge win might be all it takes, because everyone is positioning so aggressively. Don't know if they're going to be able to react quick enough. Rizzo backflip. And JNabs will come and help him out.
You know, there's a clear difference between NRG and G2's composure and defense today. NRG with some great touches, you know, just controlling the ball in the back corner when they have to. You know, letting rip when they can. That was another huge clear. JNabs wasn't sure if it was going in or not. Waited quite long and then had to dodge into it. Rizzo will try and center it to him. JNabs is there, but so is Justin. NRG have full control. The passing plays from G2 are not connecting as often as they did in the first game. Seems like the pendulum is very much swung in the favor of NRG.
Minute 15. Justin clears long. Garrett wants to try and give some sort of chase. Justin actually goes for net, and Chicago keeps it out. Squishy chooses to not move in. Realizes he's got the team with the one goal advantage. In fact, this is just pure cheek from Squishy as he looks to go backboard. Can he get the setup? No, not quite the touch he needed, but Justin still tries to find the shot. Unable to do so, but again, great decision-making from Squishy.
Yeah, the decision-making, the composure, the first touch in every single one of these plays, spot on. This is exactly what you want to see from NRG. When there's a chance to control the ball in defense, why not go for it? The alternative was to give the ball away, obviously. Just taking that light first touch and outplaying the man in front of you is a huge idea. Nice shot, actually, by Garrett. Good idea there. Tough angle, but, you know, taking it away from the defender is still pretty smart to do. NRG just need to hold on for another 15 or so seconds. Justin avoids the last man demo, and he breaks NRG out of defense once again.
Garrett already up. That's going to be his for a double tap if he can get there, but Rizzo gets there just in time. It's going to be their last chance, really. Chicago can't get to it. JNaps keeps the ball alive. Tries to find Chicago once again, but there's not enough contact on the ball. NRG move 2-0 up.
Solid stuff. This is so solid from NRG. Just absolute composure in defense. Nullifying G2, in fact, who could not establish their game like they did in the first game in this series. I think G2 overall will feel like they should have won game one with the amount of shots they were able to generate and the amount of chances they had to just snipe top corners that are undefended. But NRG made it through that difficult game one, and now things are going much more the way that they want them to be going. We had one goal for G2 here, which ended up just being too awkward for Justin to deal with. Apart from that, NRG handled everything so well. Their communication is on point. They are not panicking at all in any of these plays. They're not giving the ball away. I think they may have actually found the balance between what we were talking about earlier on in the series, keeping pressure on the opponents, but also keeping the ball under control whenever they can.
Yeah, they've very much taken a route of not just what is comfortable for them to play, but also what makes life for G2 that little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
I think, again, I will keep going back to that squishy play in the midfield. He could have just blasted off the backboard, but what was there for him? Instead, just completely cool the game down, stop the ball dead, you come to me.
Yeah, it's quite clear that G2 have been panicking in defense a fair bit. I think that NRG's start to game one was crucial to that. They, made sure to put plenty of shots on target at the very start of this series just to let G2 know, well, we're not going to play that style that we did last weekend, where we're just hitting the ball around aimlessly, maybe keeping possession, but to what avail? Today has been a very precise performance by NRG so far. Oh, that's a monster dunk by Squishy. It's into the bar. JNaps will knock it into the corner. But, it's all about that conclusion now for NRG. They've struggled in the past to close things out. Great save with a half flip there by Chicago, keeping G2 in this. NRG have done this season before. They've taken 2 games in a row against Space Station and ended up losing. They've had great starts, looked like the better team, and then fallen apart. Let's see if they can keep it going all the way till the end of this series.
Well, Darren Squishy looked a little bit awkward, but they still managed to clear the ball to the other side of the field as Justin completely misreads that bounce. Chicago for Rizzo. Yeah, those infield passing plays are not going to happen for free anymore for G2. That is gone,
wow.
But Garrett can't read the bounce. That was so harsh.
Yeah, tough bounce. Hard to read, hard to even catch up to that one. But the pressure on the third man there of G2 was brilliant. NRG, again, exerting their authority off the ball, chasing G2 out of position, and then trying to exploit them immediately, not wasting any time. Huge pass, Chicago off the post, but it's going to bounce clear off Garrett's car. And it was close for G2, but that has to be on target from Chicago. Huge letdown, huge opportunity missed.
And I get a feeling that they're not going to get anything as clean as that again. Especially not of that infield passing play. It's been very well covered. Rizzo, complete position, and they've handed it to Squishy.
Excuse me, Rizzo? I have no idea what's happened. Yes, we've seen some panic plays from G2 here and there, but nothing anywhere near that level. Rizzo was on the back wall for some reason. The ball rolled past him, and he just flipped on the spot. Absolute disaster. G2 just have to try and delete that from their memory and play on, because there is only a 1-goal difference here. But unless they can fix this problem as soon as possible, it's going to be hard to forget that massive blunder that just occurred.
Well, Rocket League at this level is a game of moments. Chicago shot missed, but Squishy is never going to miss that. Again, the third man is targeted and eliminated.
Perfect timing. The timing for NRG today has been so much better than it has in the previous series against top teams this season. Where demos are connecting, but there's no real follow-up immediately. A pass will go into nobody because it's just not able to be taken in stride. But today their communication has been so effective. Their positioning has been so effective. And they as a whole have been just a brilliant team to watch. This is the NRG that we expected to see in RLCS Season X. And who knows, maybe this is the NRG we're going to see from here on out. If we do, then who knows who the top team in the region is going to be. They have completely blown this one wide open once again.
Yeah, we've just got to see this again tomorrow. That's literally it. They can be utterly terrifying. And for me, Squishy has been the standout performer on a team that has been all popping off. Rizzo looks to try and chase this one down. He's at least got on top of Squishy, who still takes out 2 players before being taken out himself. Squishy again comes inside onto that challenge, so he's going to lose it to Chicago, but G2 needs something, and they need it quickly. These bump plays haven't given them enough space just yet to find the play. It's Rizzo aims for net. That's going to hit ceiling, so Geneps wants to try his luck. NRG have been comfortable with this so far, but maybe not anymore. They had a player trying to go for the 180 in net, and Rizzo just quick enough to get that one unchallenged.
Yeah, it was just a bit too awkward. The timing of that was just too early for Squishy to deal with. He decided to go into the net and turn around, and right as he was turning, the shot came in. Well done by Rizzo to find the back of the net. G2 have really lacked in accuracy this series. I think their confidence is taking a huge hit just by virtue of this.
Wow.
Oh my goodness, what is going on? Squishy has totally wound back a year or so. He's not really been in the conversation for best in NA for a while, but he might be after today's performance. Unreal, mid-air recovery, and just, I'd say buries G2 here. How are they gonna come back from this?
Lads, if NRG look like this tomorrow, and if Squishy plays like this, good luck. That's all we can say. My goodness, that is unreal. As Justin looks to try and really finish this one off in a game that should be done. Especially if they can't get a goal within the next few seconds. Chicago owning over to Justin. It's the wrong passing play. JNaps for Rizzo. They're going to need to try and pull in another player. JNaps has still got Chicago to work with, but they couldn't quite figure out where to put him in that play. With 20 seconds left, Johnny. NRG have gone from a team that couldn't beat any of the top 4 to a team that has dominated one of the top 4.
You know, I can't help but feel a bit vindicated saying Squishy and Rizzo are the keys to this series, with Rizzo's unfortunate mistake earlier on this game and Squishy's thoroughly, outrageously impressive performance. It's from start to finish. And you know, we've seen glimpses of this. We've seen occasional games and moments within games where Squishy will show shadows of his former self. You know, he's such a dominant player historically in North America, but more recently hasn't had consistently good performances exactly like the one that we just saw. This is what NRG fans have been waiting for. I think I just heard a collective sigh of relief from all the NRG fans worldwide who have been waiting to see if this team was going to show up in RLCS Season X, the biggest season of Rocket League esports to date. And the answer is yes. That is all you need to know. That performance right there will have everybody convinced that this team can be a regional winner, a major winner, maybe even another world champion.
Okay, so I'm just checking right now for G2 fans out there. Gibbs is at Gibbs 000. He was the one who said earlier on that G2 were going to do well today, and every time he says it, G2 don't end up doing all that well. Maybe hold off for a little while longer though, because G2 are going to be back very, very soon. They drop down to 1-1 along with teams like Space Station. As for NRG, they've now got 3 chances to move on to playoffs. When we come back, we're going to get started with stage number 3.